Hello and welcome to the Tech Remedy podcast. I'm Jamie and I'm passionate about seeing businesses win using technology. In each episode, we'll talk to industry experts or business owners just like you. We'll uncover how technology is being used in the real world. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on LinkedIn for more insight and content to come. Welcome to Tech Remedy, a bit of a different episode this week in the fact that we will talk a bit less about tech, but more about mental health, which is, I think, a good subject for males and male-dominated industries. So I'm joined by Q and Sui. I'm not going to try and pronounce your full names, guys. I know you talked about it beforehand, but if you could start by introducing yourselves and give us a bit of a background.
Yeah, so my full name is Quentin Laulu-Togagae. Just means handsome man in my culture.
Right, okay.
My mum must have knew I was going to be handsome when I grew up. But so that's my full name. I was born in New Zealand to Samoan parents, and so really proud of my Samoan heritage. Come from 4 boys, 2 girls, but I also have kids myself now. So I've got a boy who's 21, who's just started his professional rugby league journey, and I've got 2 girls, and I've pretty much been in England for 13 years now, so loving the weather, man.
I'm not sure about that. And how about yourself?
My name is Suaia Matagi. That's in Samoan as King of the Sea, but I can't swim.
You don't need to swim if you're a king,
Similar to Q, born in New Zealand.
Yeah.
I made the move 6 years ago, happily married. I've got 4 kids. I've got 3 boys, 1 girl being the oldest. And I'm currently, playing rugby for Doncaster.
Yeah, and you love in the weather.
Yeah, loving the weather. Doesn't get any better than this.
So you kind of both touched on it there. Rugby league players obviously come to the UK to play, I think, Super League and various different teams since then. You've since started Talk Your Walk Foundation about 3 years ago, if I'm right, with a few other former players or players. Can you tell us a little bit about Talk Your Walk, I guess why you got started and the kind of journey from where you started to where you are now?
Yeah, Talk Your Walk just means being able to talk about your journey, talking about your struggles. And it started 3 years ago. We used to catch up 4 players, so myself, Sui, Jesse Sinlafo, Pete Matautia. We used to catch up at Costa Coffee, and every time, like every Monday, Tuesday after a game, we'll talk about the game, review the game, talk about how Sui used to play shit all the time. But it just used to be banter. 4 really close friends used to review the game and used to just be about banter. And one of the catch-ups, Pete Matautia, he opened up about how he almost committed suicide when he was 21. And none of us knew anything about it at the time. Yeah. He opened up about how he was still struggling about that time. And so just him opening up, being vulnerable in front of close friends who would never been vulnerable before to each other, made us open up as well about what we were going through. And we were going through, family issues, whatever the issues were that we were going through. We were able to talk about it for the first time and be vulnerable with each other. And we just thought on the back of that, how much weight that was lifted off our shoulders, the impact it will have with the platform that we have as professional rugby players. Yeah. If we could share our stories and hopefully help one person who's going through the same thing, that was a massive thing for us. And so we started the podcast, and on the back of the podcast, the feedback that we were getting was massive, and that's pretty much how the foundation started. Is on the back of that meeting that we had, one person opening up, going onto the podcast, and we just moved forward from there.
Yeah, obviously being rugby players is not something you probably expect you guys to open up about. So I think it means even more, doesn't it, when people see you with the platform you guys have got. If you guys can open up and be vulnerable, then everybody should be able to do something similar.
Yeah, definitely. There's, like there's a stigma going around. Yeah, all these macho men that play 80-minute game and bashing each other, but that's far from the truth. And I think the minute he opened up, we felt that weight lifted. I was like, man, it's actually we've come to realize that being vulnerable is the actual strength, and now we encourage it day in, day out.
Yeah, I think I read a stat, or it might have been on one of the podcasts, 75% of suicides is male.
Yep.
And I guess that's a trend of guys not opening up as much as maybe females and not having the voice that others have got.
Yeah.
You guys, I guess with Taught You Walk, the mission statement is to address that and to reduce the number of suicides ultimately.
Yeah, 100%. And our culture as well didn't allow us to be vulnerable, and that's how we grew up. Is our parents used to discipline us. We weren't even allowed to cry, but that's how we grew up. That's all they knew, and we're not looking down on them or blaming them for anything. That's all they knew, and we've changed that with with the way we bring up our own kids. And like Sui touched upon, as we train during the week to play 80 minutes and be these macho men and try to get over the other team, but we usually take that into the real world. But we have struggles just like everyone else, and that's still something that we're trying to change within the rugby league community, and about opening up and being vulnerable, and through vulnerability is strength.
Yeah. So in terms of then, obviously I don't need to get into your upbringing and things like that, but do you think, is there a difference in culture between the UK and the Oz, New Zealand, like Pacific Island kind of things, or is it just a trend of the times with not being able to cry and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's it's an interesting one. I think Q touched on it before when he spoke about it. It was a highlight going back. I used to get a hiding for tripping up or hurting my leg.
Yeah.
It's that mentality of even if I'm playing a game or not giving my all, and I'm complaining that I'm sore here. The mentality was, look, if the bone's not sticking out, it's play on. And you grow up with that. So I don't know how, we've only been here 6 years, but you wouldn't say you're taught to be silent, but you're meant to bottle it in.
Yeah.
And so, growing up, that was me too. That took me off the path, off the wrong path, was not knowing how to deal with the emotions that I was struggling with. And so I was just, lost kid at the time, thinking, man, how do I express, these emotions that I'm feeling? And now that we know more, and we want to pass down to our kids, it's learning that it's okay, to not be okay. It's okay to be vulnerable, and we're trying to encourage it to our kids. If we're not doing the leading by example, then how can we expect them to do the same?
Yeah.
So it's breaking that cycle, and it all starts from us.
Yeah, practice what you preach.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a good place to start. And you both had difficult childhoods or upbringings or personal traumas in the last few years. Do you want to go into a little bit about that? And I guess that's some of your reasoning and some of the stuff I've seen you open up on your own podcast about, and those sort of struggles.
Yeah, just quickly with my story. So like I mentioned before, there's 6 of us, but my biological dad passed away when I was only 6, on my birthday as well.
Yeah.
And so my mum had to find 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet, just to raise us as kids. And so before my stepdad come into the picture, he came in about 5 years after. My older brother was the one who took that upon himself to watch the younger siblings, and I helped out as well. And so we were looking after our younger brothers and our younger sister, making sure the food was ready, making sure lunch was there. But then my stepdad come in and done an amazing job. But my brother was my role model, and I don't look back and think down on my upbringing, because I loved my upbringing, man.
Yeah.
It was the best. But that's the one thing I didn't have, is for someone to talk to, someone to reach out and be able to talk to, the struggles that I was facing. And I guess that took me through my adulthood as well.
Yeah.
And so that was me, not being able to speak to my wife and speak about stuff that I was going through. And I learned that on the way. I could still be better with it, but it's something that I have been better with, being able to talk about my struggles. And then we talk about our struggles with our journey, trying to make it to the top of our profession and being proficient. Top of our profession.
Yeah.
And so we talk about what we've been through, how we managed to overcome those struggles.
Yeah.
What we deal with currently, with being professional rugby players. but then also other stuff too.
Because I think you, if I'm right, started late in your rugby league career in Super League. You were 33, was it?
Yeah. So I've been playing rugby all my life, but I finally reached my my dream of playing professional rugby at the highest level when I was 33. And for those who don't know much about rugby league, at 33 you're either retiring or your career's kind of like declining towards retirement. And so to finally reach that point at 33 was a massive. And I talk about why I didn't make it, and what I could have done different. And it's something that I love sharing.
Yeah, I guess all the bits along the way got you to the point that you're here now, though. And there's always a silver lining, like we talked about before. Even in the face of adversity, you can learn, can't you, and grow from it. And you mentioned about you still want to be better at being open and sharing, but you're obviously a lot better than most or people I'm aware of that are in your position that don't open up and share those sort of things.
Yeah, 100%. And like, you can always be better, no matter what you're doing. You're not perfect. And so you can always be better, and that's what I'm trying to do. And my wife always reminds me that I need to be better. And and as talkie walkers, we're trying to encourage people to be better with talking, because it's a skill. It's a skill, and the first time you do it, you can feel the nerves and the anxiety that comes in. But the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Yeah, I've obviously not had a hard upbringing, but in our lads group, there's someone that I know that struggles or has struggled in the past, but it's really hard as a group of guys to go out and know what to say or what to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think stuff like this helps. I know you do something called check-ins and fam, which I really loved the idea of, like an icebreaker almost, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about fam and how you encourage people to use it and that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, okay, so Chicken 321.
Yeah.
There's an acronym called, family, Ainga and Samoan. That's a strong pillar of ours. And, often we check in surface level, and that's all we know. So it's just, hey, how you doing, man? And then we leave it there. So fam, we want to go a bit deeper, break that ice. F stands for family. How's the family? We're just catching up, as normal. And we have a rating from 0 to 5, 5 being, great or good. Where do you see how's the family? And you get a rating from there. But just then going back and forward, having that, nice dialogue with, whoever I'm talking to, we start to see the wall sort of slow down, and then we'll go a bit deeper. A stands for activity. How's activity? How are you moving around? Whatnot, and just going back and forward. And then M stands for mindset. Where do you see yourself in mindset? And by then, you should have a clear indication on where someone's at, teammate or whoever it may be. And it might not open then and there, but now you've got an indication of this guy's probably struggling. I might need to get some help, or you've given them that courage to sort of open up. And Q touched on it as well, that weight of holding on, thinking that you're on your own.
Yeah.
And it's just to remind them, hey, we're here together, man. There's no soldiers left. We're going to do this journey together. And, that's what talking walkers and encouraging it. And that's just a start, that fam. And then we can just go from there.
Yeah, I think it's something everybody can do right now, isn't it? When I saw it the other day in the podcast I listened to with you guys on, I was like, that's something I should definitely try and implement within the group. Like, even just because it's so easy, you can do it on WhatsApp and things like that. Mm-hmm. You don't physically have to be there with someone, do you? And I think, like you say, like, we're guilty, and I'm definitely guilty of this as well. No matter how you really feel, and if somebody says, "Oh, how you doing?" Yeah, good. How's things? Yeah, good. It's just like a natural answer, not an actual true kind of state. So I think farming pushing for a bit more and rating it 0 to 5 is a really good way for people to get started.
Yeah, the rating it's really important, because someone will give a rating of 2, say 2 of family or 2 of mindset, and then when you ask them, why is it a 2? Then they'll start explaining why it's a 2, and then that's them opening up without even knowing, without even having to feel the anxiety of opening up. So they're opening up on why it's a 2, and then you can gauge, this guy might need help, or he just wants me to listen. So the ratings are a really good one that we've found that helps people open up.
And you guys reckon doing that weekly, or what's the cadence of how often you tell people to do that sort of stuff?
Yeah, well, It depends. So we often tell you to reach out to someone that you haven't spoken to in a while.
Okay.
So once a week's a good one.
Yep.
We check up on each other every day.
Okay.
Yeah, because things change, overnight. And so it depends on the scope, I guess, on how you feel like you want to check up on someone. But yeah, once a week is a good gauge.
And obviously, people can vary week to week. So
Yeah.
just because somebody's 2 for a certain thing 1 week doesn't mean that they're going to continually be a 2. They can, obviously, life's up and down, and I guess people need different things at different times.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's just a starting point.
Yeah.
Because many times you hear people go, oh, I don't know how to check in, or I don't know how to say hello and stuff like that. And it's just a guideline, man. And it's to start. Yeah. Again, it's just start that conversation, and then, all of a sudden he's going to feel heard, and you don't know, the healing will just come from opening up and chatting and can get the help he needs.
Yeah.
But again, with the rating as well that Q touched on, sometimes you don't know, if I'm a 2 for this week, how can I get to a 3? And it's about making improvements. There's no one's perfect.
Yeah.
We all make mistakes or stuff. How can I get that to 3 or 4? And like you'll know yourself, life is a journey here, and it's just taking it one day at a time.
Yeah. So in terms of then other things Talk You Walk does and how else you can help people, can you tell us a little bit about the sort of things you guys do and how people can get support?
Yep. So passing waiting for the offload. Yeah, something like, again, we're passionate about.
Yeah.
Helping people become their best versions of themselves. Q touched on it as well. Our journey through our trials, getting to the top of the mountain. Playing at the highest level. We want to transfer all that we learned. The mindset, the work ethic, consistency, all this kind of stuff. And implement it and empower people, whatever journey it is in business, life, schools, and it's something that we're really passionate about, making an impact, and going there and providing programs that's going to inspire them, to make the right path and to make the right choices. So that's sort of where we're at. We've done a talk last week, which was we're still talking to this day, how important it is to make an impact in the next generation, which started from school and going so forth to businesses, prisons, and all sorts.
Yeah, and it's something like when we speak from experience. And so to play at the highest level, you need to be able to get over mistakes, So you need to be able to get over mistakes like that. Otherwise, you don't perform at the highest level.
Yeah.
You get injured. How do you get back from injury and perform at the highest level? You have hundreds of players want to take your spot. So how do you keep them away, and still performing at the highest level? And so what we've learned on how to deal with all those setbacks and move forward and constantly move forward, we're able to then transfer that into all the organizations that we go into, whether that's at schools, prisons, businesses, hospices, you name it, we've been in there.
Yeah.
And we talk, one day it might be a mental health workshop, the other one might be team building, resilience. So like you said, our aim is to empower those and make them become the best versions of themselves. And that's through what we've been through, the experiences we've been through.
Yeah. So do you think there's a similar mindset for professional athletes to maybe running a business in terms of, I always think about, you train 5 days a week to play 80 minutes, but people only see you in that 80-minute window. They don't see any of the hard graft that's gone into it, any of the other sacrifice. And I sometimes think like running a business is a little bit similar. People see the success and all the hard work and not all the lows in between. So I guess you can relate to people on that.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And exactly like a business with rugby players, you got to have your vision. Your vision's got to be clear, whether that's individuals or as a team. So as soon as you have a clear vision, then you have clarity behind that. And so you know what your values are. You can decide what your standards are going to be like. You can run it as a team. And then also how you're going to face the setbacks because business, rugby, there's always going to be setbacks. How you're going to deal with it. And like you said, man, like people only see the highlights, but they don't see all the graft that goes into how you got there, how you performed at the highest level. They don't see that. And so, massively, business and being professional rugby players and sports and that, it all interlinks. It's all pretty much the same.
Yeah. In terms of then, just to go on to tech a little bit, how do you think technology and the digital world we live in maybe like affects people's mentality, their health and that kind of stuff? Like, do you think, are you big fans of stuff like social media? Do you not really like it? Obviously, you come from a world of, I guess, non-tech, being athletes, but it, in my mind, has a negative effect on society. because people are always comparing themselves to people. People are always looking at just the top of the mountains and not any of the journey stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys think on that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's a big one. It's something that I had to train. So, previous years before I became a professional athlete, you mentioned it, you like to compare because you see a 10-second, 15-second reel of someone's mountaintop, but you forget the valleys that they've had to climb through. And so it's something that, going back to mindset and routine, something that we implement and, empower into organizations or schools. How you start your day is going to, reflect on, how your day is. And so it's something that I have a rule. No social media within the first hour. So, and it's just about priming your mindset.
Yeah.
Because you want to prime your mindset to win the day. And if you know yourself with social media, 99% of it's all negative, And so you don't want to start your day off on a negative. It's training them habits, the winning, habits that we talk about, that we learn as professionals and, starting our day right. So first things first, man, just meditate, be grateful. All the 3 things I'm grateful for, and that's how I'll kick my day off. So social media's got to go aside, because I know that's a big one. In the past, you can easily don't realize how good you got it, or you can take things for granted because you're seeing someone else's story, but not knowing, what happened before. Someone else saying they've got all this and not realizing it's just the face of social media. So it's something that I've had to train myself.
I think it's harder as well for young people, isn't it? Like they grow up in a world where everybody's on social media and it's like the natural thing that they do.
Yeah.
So they've got a completely different set of problems or challenges maybe to what we had or what you guys have had as an upbringing.
Yeah.
Do you see any positive in? Is there any technology that you really love or you utilize or anything like that?
Yeah, I think the positives are being so far away from your family. You can FaceTime now, where back in the day it was only a phone call, or the bills would be skyrocketing, thousands a month. But the FaceTime in that is a massive element in terms of trying to keep in touch with your family back home. And there's always positives to social media. You can stay connected with different people online, and it's massive when you're trying to, whatever it is you're trying to get into. Say as a rugby player, as a young kid coming through, I want to reach out to those who are playing at the highest level in my position. And so I'm able to message them on social media for some advice. So that's another positive, but obviously with every positive, there's like 8 negatives that come with it. And so you got to take the good or the bad if that's something that you want to get into. And that's something I've talked to my son about, the comments, about performance. And it's something that he's got to learn to deal with, where if he's had a bad game, read all the bad comments. There may be like 100 good comments, but that one bad comment, that's the one that sticks in his head. So that's something that he needs to deal with.
And do you think you obviously have got you coming from a good place to be able to teach and I guess educate him, been through that journey and understanding and growing now with Taught You Walk, I guess you can give him a more complete picture than maybe you had.
Yeah, I'm sure Sui would be able to give him better advice, because I'm sure he used to get treated bad with all the comments for the fans. Oh, you're shite this week.
No, it's good, like even talking about the positives, the reach you can have, the message that we're trying to, not only on the field, but off the field as well.
Yeah.
I still remember now, there's a highlight, a young kid reached out to me and he was like, man, how do I become professional? But it's those conversations that can be real for them, and you tell them the price to pay, and I don't know if I can do that. And so it's a whole different ballgame when you give them the blueprint, because everyone just wants to see the limelight.
Yeah, exactly.
No one wants to do the light,
the hard yards,
the low lights, being in the valley. So there's that positive aspects where you can actually spread a message and reach out, get this message out all around the world. So
So in terms of, I guess, people listen to this, if they want to get involved with Taught You Walk, some of the things you guys are doing and can help with, what's the best way of them? If you're a business owner, for example, so mainly business owners that would listen to this, what sort of things would you be able to go in and help with, and how would a business get in touch with you to do those sort of things? So
there's a few ways. Just to mention some of the businesses that we're working with, WDH. So we've got a contract throughout the whole year now, going in and doing mental health workshops, but also doing team building, resilience, goal setting. We're doing work with ALA as well. So we're going into different departments and doing team building, resilience, goal setting, values. And so there's a way where you can sponsor. So we have 3 different sponsorship packages, gold, silver, bronze, and each package you'll get certain things. But also if they want us to come in and do one-off workshops or 6-week programs, so those are the ways where businesses can help and where we can come in to help the businesses as well.
Okay, and I think you do stuff outside of business as well for, I know you do, is it touch rugby and things like that? Where people come down, if someone's struggling and they're listening to this but they don't want to put their hands up, how can they get help through Talk Your Walk Foundation, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we have socials, so we promote every week, Saturday, A1 Football Factory at the moment out in Pontefract.
Yeah.
8 o'clock start, and doesn't matter what level you're at, what fitness, the key thing for us is just move around. Sometimes might not even be able to move around that Saturday, but just turn up.
Yeah.
So we're big believer in culture. We've created a culture where it's a safe space to come.
Yeah.
No judgment, come, and even if you have to support or be the ref, there's a role for you there. But the goal is, what we do after touch, and that's, catching up before coffee, checking in similar, and just seeing, how the individual is and go from there. But it's so encouraging seeing other men come, and then more importantly, they come with their kids as well. So for the kids seeing, all the fathers checking in and wanting to better themselves, mental health, wherever it may be, we're being them role models for the kids, and they're seeing, oh man, the fathers can do it. It's
leading by example again. Yeah.
And I think I like to mention that we also help with women as well.
Yeah.
And hearing what they go through as ladies in society, or those who have got kids, what they go through, pregnancy and discrimination, because that's still massive, with women. And we got our first 2 ladies to ever come on our podcast that are coming on this week, and man, we're so pumped, excited for them to come on, and being able to hear their perspective in life and what they've been through is massive. And we talk about the 75% of men who struggle with suicide and all that, but it's 25% women as well, which is a big number. So although the majority are men, we still want to encourage the women as well, which is massive for us.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to make, isn't it? And I think the whole mental health, suicide, because it's not that much, well talked about.
Yeah,
it's sometimes hard to be educated about it, isn't it? Yeah. I know, like I mentioned, the not knowing how to reach out to people in my own friendship group and things like that. And even with you guys coming on here, I was like, I'll have to kind of do a little bit of research, watch a couple of your podcasts, try and learn a bit, so I'm not ignorant as such. And it's probably, I think you mentioned earlier, you're always growing and learning, but you need to be aware of things, even if you don't struggle yourself. And probably a point to mention would be, as a business owner, you should probably have a foundation understanding of this sort of stuff, so you can help people in your team as well.
Yeah.
I think there's nothing really talked about, is there, like that?
No.
So you guys doing stuff is definitely fresh.
Yeah. Hanging around off queue.
You're getting my vocabulary.
You're hanging out of queue too long, eh?
Yeah.
I think that's a big one, especially as a business owner, because we talk about high performance and productivity, and if you're not aware of your team, and if one of your team members are struggling, days off, that's money. People not coming in, revenue, and so mental health was a big one. You want to build a culture where everyone comes in, everything's taken care of, because again, productivity, that just takes care of all, everything else, eh? And if people are strong mentally, again, you're building a culture that's ready to win, and that's something that, we're passionate about, and going into, businesses and organizations, just spreading that, key message of mental health mindset, because if you're winning in the mind, we believe it takes care of everything, eh? On and off the field.
Right, okay, yeah. I'm still not sure I could run at people for 80 minutes, even if I had the right mindset.
You'll be fine, man.
So what does the future for Talk Your Walk look like? Where are you guys heading? What would be an ideal next 12 months for you guys?
Just keeping the momentum going. Like what we do as a foundation, and when we hear people about how, hearing some of the stories have helped them get over their struggles. Just the other day, we went to a school in Hull, and a couple of students, came and spoke to us during lunchtime about how our stories have helped them and give them the courage to come and talk to us about what they've gone through. And so that's something we want to keep pushing. Those numbers are alarming, in terms of the suicide rate each year. I want to push to try and reduce those numbers, and hopefully through everything that we're doing, creating, a championship mindset and getting people to be the best versions of themselves, we can help those numbers.
Yeah, okay. And then if somebody's listening to this right now, what's the top sort of 1 or 2 tips that they can go and implement straight away, they can start doing to try and improve their mindset or their mental health without necessarily having to have the courage to reach out and get in touch with someone? Is there
on top of my head, it'll just be first to love yourself. That's a massive one. First, love yourself. We touch on it. Q mentioned on his other talk, your self-talk, because what you say to yourself, we believe are seeds.
Okay.
Those seeds eventually become your feelings, go into actions, and then you start living it out. So it's something that I struggle with, and I fell off the horse. So didn't know how to express my emotions there, and you got to stop being hard. Hard with yourself. Brush yourself off. Have grace of yourself, because we all make mistakes, and your past doesn't define you. So many times we hold on to our past, or what I like to say, we have two halves in life. Our first half doesn't define you. You still got your second half to move forward. So I think first is just love yourself, and second, man, what are you grateful for? Because being grateful for what I have, someone else might not have, and there's some things I can take for granted. It's those little things there. And so again, love yourself. Keep speaking positive about yourself.
Yeah.
Because again, your best version's still waiting out there, waiting for you to walk towards it. So
yeah. I didn't expect you to say love yourself, to be honest.
Yeah. That's massive, bro.
Yeah.
That's something that we've learned to do, and the impact it can have on yourself is massive. And like we said, you can choose to speak to yourself negatively or positively, and that's how it's going to come out. And the power of self-talk, that can set up your day, and it can really make things go up or down, whichever way you choose to speak to yourself. So yeah, it's massive.
Now I'll listen to more of your stuff, and I'll definitely try and incorporate some of the stuff in my life with the groups that I'm part of as well, and just try and educate myself more moving forwards. And yeah, I think what you guys doing is pretty special. Like, to put yourself out there and do something different is pretty cool. So keep doing it.
No, thanks, man.
Yeah.
No, thanks for having us on as well, man. Appreciate your time, and anytime we can get on someone's podcast and spread the message, we're always keen to do it. So thank you for your time. Thank you for having us, man.
No problem. I'll put obviously in the show notes, like episode links to your website and things like that.
Yeah.
So people can come on, they can join and see what you guys are doing, and help support the journey.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Cool.
Once again, thank you, bro.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
That's all for this episode of the Tech Remedy podcast. I hope you found it insightful and have some useful takeaways for your business. Please don't forget to share the podcast with anybody else that may help, and subscribe for future episodes to come.